All right, this is day 3 of me trying to not be trash at talking on YouTube. So the last focus of the last video was to take out the word and other connector phrases. I noticed that I still did it a couple times, so my attempt with this video is to move further from that and try to do it 0 times. Also, I want to speed up my speaking a little bit more. I feel like that will help with not only the breaks in speech, but it will also help continue to move the video along in a faster and more engaging action, which I think will overall help the videos. So today, I went into Brooklyn, actually. It was a great experience. I went over to NYU to help someone out at the hospital, and I also had some food, and I visited the city, and I recognized something about the city itself. I don't particularly like New York City. I know that a lot of people refer to it as like the city of dreams or other ways of talking about it. If you go to New York, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. I don't particularly like it. I noticed when I was walking down the street that a lot of the smells of the city just were not pleasant. There was smells of urine, there were people yelling, there was trash on the streets, and I was in Dumbo, which is a very nice area of Brooklyn. It was still kind of dirty and gross, and I was also standing there and looking around at all these apartments and looking them up online just because I was curious about like how much does it cost to rent one of these places here in Dumbo. I saw a 1-bedroom apartment with one bathroom for $6,000, and you walk downstairs and go outside into the street and there's trash on the street. It smells like urine. What's the point of that? You're not even really in the city. You're outside of New York. It boggles my mind why people choose to spend the amounts of money that they do to live in these places and to experience life in Dumbo specifically. Or maybe not specifically, but generally other really rich areas. There have been other places in the country that I visited, like Ponte Vedra in Florida, that was very much, it was nice, it was prim, it was proper, and the streets were clean, and like spending the amount of money that people chose to spend to stay in those places made sense. But in New York, you're close to the city, I suppose, but I don't know if that warrants spending the amount of money that people actually do on apartments there. Anyway, I also went to a Trader Joe's in the city just because I get a discount. It was cheaper, and it was really weird. It was almost like walking into a courtroom, and I got inside and there was really high ceilings, and it was really cool actually, but a weird experience. So I learned a lot about the fact that I don't necessarily want to live in a city. I've known that. I've never particularly enjoyed New York City, but I've learned that about myself. And I think a lot of people are also starting to learn that because it seems like a lot of people are moving out of New York and going other places. And I've specifically noticed this in places that I have friends that are talking about how the property values are rising. A lot of New Yorkers seem to be moving into the area, taking their New York money, buying places, buying spaces, and renting out properties, and just overall raising the total cost of living for everyone that lives there. So it's a really interesting dilemma. I don't think anyone necessarily wants to, well, that's not true. There are people who love New York, and I don't want to take anything away from it. There are some really cool things you could do here. And honestly, I think if you have money, like money, like rich pop star style money, you could really do anything here. But I think for the average American who's just trying to make it and get by, New York doesn't necessarily make it any easier for them. Honestly, I think the lack of greenery and the lack of space to get out and enjoy the day is making it harder for them. Anyway, moving off of that rant and onto something else. I am preparing for a retreat this winter. It starts December 30th and it ends the 6th of January. And over the course of that retreat, there's a lot of things that are going to be plans, that are plans. There's going to be ayahuasca at that retreat. There's going to be San Pedro. People are going to have tons of food. We're actually staying in an ashram. It's going to be a great experience. And the past few days, I've really been working through with my partner a lot of the very specific choices that don't necessarily need to be made as soon as you're creating the retreat, but as you come closer, you need to start making these decisions, like what's going to be on the menu, who exactly is going to be leading certain things, maybe not necessarily the ayahuasca, but other individual events. What are the smaller events that we're going to fill time with that are going to be valuable for people who are coming? And it's definitely been a little bit of a process. For people who are starting to do retreats and starting to get their feet wet in that arena, there's definitely two ways to go about it. And one of them I find to be more fulfilling. But I'll start off with the first way. The first way is you can approach a retreat center that has the food, that has the connection to the chef, that has everything that you need, and it usually costs a decent amount of money. You put that money down on the place, and then everything's taken care of. If you want to add things in, the retreat center already has that stuff known for you, and they have it all under wraps and ready to go in a package. The second way, and the way that I usually choose to do mine, is me and my partner, we pick a place and then we build the retreat around that place. That way is much more difficult, but it's much more rewarding. You literally get to choose the different community members that are inside of that retreat and how they come together to create a beautiful experience for everyone. Instead of just approaching, for example, Samadhi or any other retreat center, and they do a great job, don't get me wrong, but approaching them and them just filling the space up and just accepting that this is the community that's here, you get to hand pick when you do it the way that I do it. It takes more time, it takes more effort, it's definitely more difficult, but it pays off more in the end. You don't really have those weird moments where you're considering, how does this person's energy match up with what I'm doing? You know exactly what's going to be there and what you're getting. So going through that experience has been difficult but fun once again, setting it up, really getting in the mind space of where are these people going to be at this retreat? Who's going to be the front contact for them at this particular event or this particular time? It's an interesting ebb and flow. You don't want to plan too much, but you don't want to have not enough planned at the same time. So that's been a really fun experience recently as well. When I get on these videos every day, the 30 days of speaking for 10 minutes a day, I'm trying to continue to come up with topics, but I don't want to come into these videos with specific things to talk about. I feel like that's cheating. I really want to work on my wit and work on what I'm talking through in these videos and coming up with things on the spot, because honestly, that's what's going to make the videos better as time goes on. Just being able to think about what exactly it is that I'm trying to achieve and being able to do that in real time. That way, when I do come in with a script, if I ever go off script, I'll be able to get back on, or if I come in with a general idea, I'll be able to execute it without having a list of things to say. I think overall that'll make me a better speaker online. So that being said, this is day 3. My purpose for this video, I think I've been doing pretty well. I've been approaching speaking a little bit faster, trying to move forward my pace in the video, and also taking out those extra blank spaces that didn't really need to be there as far as words. I feel like I've done that pretty well. Moving forward, I want to start to address my hand movements a little bit. I think tomorrow I'll definitely make this same style video again where I'm trying to address the same things, because I don't want to move too quickly, but I feel like my hand movements could be more helpful to the video instead of just randomly moving around. Although I've been doing an okay job of that so far. And then moving forward, I want to address my projection onto the video. I started doing that a little bit today, but in the past, I definitely noticed my voice was a little bit mumbled and I wasn't projecting as well. So those are my goals moving forward. If you're following this journey, I appreciate you. Check out my other videos and subscribe so I can hit 50 subscribers. I'm really trying to do this live. I feel like that would be really beneficial to me and it would make me a better presenter as time goes on. Thank you so much for those that are following, and I'll catch you tomorrow.